What is going on, guys? Welcome back. A lot of you saw the last video with the tick on the Harley on our 05 Road Glide. So this is going to be a follow-up video. As some of you noticed watching that video and made comments that the noise was not gone, the tick wasn't gone, and you are correct. I was told that that would solve it, fixed it. As with a lot of times, that wasn't exactly the problem because it's still there afterwards. So I did more in-depth tear down on the bike. I took the whole top end apart on it, pulled the rockers out, rocker boxes, and found the problem in there. I'm gonna put, I took some pictures and some video with my phone at the time. I didn't have my GoPro, so and I wasn't really thinking about it. I got into it in kind of a hurry, just wanted to get it done. So I didn't get a lot of footage of doing the work, but I did get some video and some pictures of what was going on. So I will post those in this video. I'll edit them in so you guys can see what I found the problem was and how I fixed it. We'll put that in the video, and we're going to fire it up. And I was able to fire it up for a short amount of time and could hear a difference in it, that it definitely fixed the issue. But let me turn the camera around right here. So this little quick connect fitting right here on your fuel tank for your line right here, your fuel line that goes to fuel injection. There's a rubber O-ring up in here, and when I connect it back up, I pushed it up in there and it caught the edge of the O-ring and sliced the O-ring a little bit. So it was spitting fuel out everywhere. And as soon as the fuel pump kicked on and pressure hit it, I was blowing fuel everywhere. So I had just enough time to fire it up, listen to it, and shut it down because fuel was going everywhere. But anyway, I went to Harley to get the O-ring for up in here. And they do not sell a separate O-ring for this, which I was very disappointed in. They will sell you this whole quick connect fitting for $74 with a plastic line that goes up in the tank up here to your fuel pump. So you got to remove this top piece off, which has a seal. So now you're going to have to replace that seal just to connect the plastic line up to put this new fitting in, all for an O-ring. So I went online, I found the O-rings for it, ordered them up. I've been waiting for them to get here. They finally arrived. I'm going to replace the O-ring, and hopefully that's going to stop our fuel leak issue. I don't know for sure if it is. I'm hoping it is. I hope the O-rings I got are the correct ones. They say they're for it, but it's kind of an oddball size O-ring. I went to several different places to buy it, and nobody seemed to have it. Put just a little dab of Sil Glide on the end of this so it slides up in there. So it is in there. Question being, is it sealed? See if we can. I don't see it dripping, so that's a plus. Probably means we got it. Just as a little where you plug it in, you know, the fuel in this fitting. So I need to make sure it's not pooling up in here. I guess let's put some fuel pressure to it, see what it does. So far so good. I'm not seeing any fuel leaks, so no more leakage, so that's pretty sweet. It was spitting fuel out the other day, all over out of there. So, alrighty. Alright, so now, got to put the, this gauge assembly back up on there and get this tank bolted down. It's just sitting here. So I'll get a couple bolts in the front and a bolt in the back. We'll get this gauge console back up on there, and we'll be ready to fire it up, and we'll see what you guys think. See if it sounds a lot better. I think it does. So I think it fixed the issue. So I'm probably don't need to film that. I think that's pretty self-explanatory how to put this together. So I'm just going to put it together quick, and then we'll fire it up. So, alrighty, guys. We got our tank all back on there, bolted down. Bought some new edge rubber for this thing, but it ain't quite right. I need to get some glue and actually tack it with some tack glue. I didn't have any glue. I forgot to buy some. I was going to, so that it stayed, but I think it looks all right. It wasn't long enough to go all the way around, so I had to like cut it and seam it at the front up here, which I didn't like to do, but is what it is, and I can order a longer one later. But I think it looks pretty good. I don't know, what do you guys think? It don't look too bad. The other one kept falling out and it was hard as rock, so this one's a much better improvement, even if it don't fit quite right. So anyway, got her back together. Let's those compression releases. Let's fire this thing up and see if you notice a difference, if it seems quieter to you. It definitely, the other day, for a little bit I had it running, it sounded quieter, but I'll get to hear it a little bit longer with you guys and see if it really did change it. But I think it fixed the problem. So little bit of a tick, but not like it was. I was told that's the camshaft, the Woods cams in these. They just make a little bit of noise, but man, it's a considerable improvement from what it was before. I hope on the video you guys can tell the difference, but I can tell the difference just by standing here. So I think that was our issue. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, I guess. I'll post the video again that I had on the last one of it running when we got done with the push rods and the lifters. And I didn't really notice a change in it. It was still pretty loud. So I'll put that video and edit it in here along with this, and we'll put them back to back so that maybe it'll show up a lot better. but man, I think it's considerably quieter. So I will also show you guys the videos I took with my phone of the pins. So up in here, it's under the cover. I'll show you on the video, but you got your rocker arms, or your rocker arms are up in here with your rocker shafts in the rocker box up under here. Those rocker shafts are held by the bolts holding that rocker box in, and there's a notch in those pins that the bolt goes through to hold that pin from moving side to side and from turning. Well, whoever designed it at Harley, they put a bigger bore for that bolt along with a bigger notch in that pin, and the bolt is way too small for the bore. So therefore it allows that pin to be sloppy, and it slops back and forth and in and out. So yeah, I just noticed it with the bolt in there. You can see our notch is lined up, right? Drop the bolt in here. Look how much slop that notch has with the pin. I can wiggle the pin in and out that far. There's that much slop. Rocking back and forth with the rocker arms, especially with the high lift cam and the friction on that rocker arm, you know, it's going to move those pins that little bit. So that thing rocking back and forth and hitting them bolts, I believe, was the noise, and then it amplifies it with having this lid. It just makes an echo, so it just amplifies the sound even louder. So you get all four of those going at the same time, and it was clattering. So I had the pins. I took the rocker boxes up to Baisley's Performance in Portland. Thank you to those guys. They did a great job on them. Highly recommend them. They're online. They do a lot of really cool performance stuff, and I've heard about them for years, never used them. Sent them up there, and he literally had them done in a day when he told me it'd take probably 2-3 days. I dropped them off on a Thursday, figured Monday or Tuesday, and he had them done by Friday. I went up and picked them up the next day. So anyway, remachined them to fit the bolts that I have, so they're a lot tighter tolerance. They just rotated that pin 90 degrees and re-notched it. Put them back in here, and now there's no more slop in these pins that are in those rockers. So that, I believe, is what was causing my major tick. He is the one that did tell me, though, that the TW6H Woods cams, they're a high lift, 590 lift cam. He said the ramps are really steep on them, and the high lift on them causes them to have some tap out of the lifters. It's just, they hit hard, and the ramp is not a very good ramp. It's real steep. So it's almost like, in a way, kind of slapping into the lifter a little bit as it comes up, because it's such a steep ramp. It's not a gradual, so it kind of gets a tick. And I imagine at the top it's popping just a little bit when it comes across the top too. Especially at higher RPMs, you might get a little pop at the top before it comes back down. So he said it makes a little noise. If I want to get rid of that, I'm gonna have to change the camshafts. I like these cams. I can live with a little bit of tick. What I had was pretty obnoxious, and I always thought the motor was coming apart. Wanted to make sure that wasn't the problem. So knowing that it's the cams and that's just how they are, I can live with that. As long as I know my motor's good, my engine's good, and it's not coming apart. You hear ticking noises, and it's, you want to stop it. You want to make sure you find out what's going on with it before you just keep riding it until the thing comes apart. And I can't afford a new engine, so fix it ahead of time. That's my motto. So anyway, I hope this helps somebody out there chasing this tick issue. There is some other videos. That's how I kind of stumbled on it. There's some other videos on YouTube of guys describing the same issues. There's a kit with some brass sleeves called rocker lockers that some of you may be familiar with. You put the rocker box together, you put them in there, press them in outside, and then set them in there, and then you run the bolts. The only problem with that is once they're in there, you have to remove that whole rocker box to get that assembly apart again, you have to drive those bushings back out, those little brass sleeves back out to get the pins back out if you ever need to. This way, by remachining these pins, I can still pull the bolt and slide the pin out and get the rockers out without having to pull that whole assembly if I didn't want to. So to me, this is a better fix. I'm not adding those brass sleeves in. I'm not adding, this is just remachining the part to be a better, the way that Harley should have designed it originally, to hold that. So if you got a ticky, I think somebody else posted too, they got a 103. I'm pretty sure that's what this thing is a 103. Judging by everything now, I bought it. I was told it was a 103 by the kid I bought it from, but he had bought it from a guy and didn't really know a whole lot, just what that guy told him. I had no records. I tried to find records on the bike. I found where it was sold, but the place no longer existed. And I was just totally unsure about everything other than just word of mouth of what maybe it had, and I wasn't real sure. So when I tore this all apart, I was able to see it's got a stroker crank in it. It's got the Screaming Eagle hydraulic plate with the high pressure pump. The Woods cams, the TW6H cams in it. It had Jim's lifters in it. I've replaced them now with Fueling HP Plus lifters, and it had Screaming Eagle adjustable push rods. Now it's got S&S quickies in it, which I like a lot better than the the Screaming Eagle, sorry. The Screaming Eagles were all right, and they were able to come out of here, but man, that S&S is the way that they adjust. They just drop down. It makes it a lot easier than having to thread that thing all the way up. So really like the quickies. And then I found out in the top end that it had Jim's roller rockers in the top end as well. So it's got a lot of good components in it. This bike's pretty hot, and so I'm pretty well convinced. I don't know the bore. That is the only thing I don't know, because without taking the jugs off and measuring them, I don't know. So, but I'm assuming with the stroker crank in here, with the work that's been done and what was said, I am now pretty much convinced that it is a 103, that they built it into a 103. So yeah, it's a pretty hot bike. She gets with the program in a hurry. I think the next step on it is a new tuner. As you can see here, I got this Power Commander 3, and when it's running, this light is all the way down at the very bottom, which is your negative fuel. It sits at the bottom down here, and you rev it up and it goes up like one spot and back down. The buttons, I believe, you're supposed to be able to adjust it. Maybe you have to go in and program it. I don't know, but the light doesn't move. I've never plugged this into a computer and changed it. When I first got the bike, the light was somewhere in the middle here, and now it's clear at the bottom, and it doesn't seem to move or do anything really. And it's running super, super rich. If you can see the exhaust pipes here, I mean, this is just, you can see that it just soot. This thing is just so rich. The exhaust ports up on the head, they're just sooty as hell when you take the exhaust off. I don't know if you can see it really. Let me grab my light here. So right up in here, I don't know if you can, it's kind of hard to see there, but yeah, there you go. So see the soot even coming out of the compression releases right there. And the spark plugs are pretty sooty too. So I am pretty convinced she's running really rich, and sometimes she's hard to start, and that probably has a lot to do with it as far as, firing up, because you got a lot of fuel going in there, which, it don't like to fire up quick, even with the compression releases. And I think my compression releases might be wearing out on it. I talked to Baisley's. Baisley's makes a set of their own. They're pretty expensive, but they were a lot nicer, and they're built for higher compression engines. They stay open just a little bit longer. These get about one revolution before they snap shut. So if it doesn't fire on the first revolution, they snap shut and you're fighting the compression again. I've already replaced the starter once. This has a heavier duty all balls starter in it, so it's a lot higher amperage. I ran bigger battery cables and about the highest cold cranking amp battery I could find for it to help, and it has helped. It doesn't struggle near as much with this starter in it. It's a great starter, but not cheap. But I think those compression releases could use replacing, and you know, might help it out. So hopefully, I don't know when I'll have the money to do it, but I'm really hoping I can get a video together of this thing. The next video we shoot of it will be us maybe installing the new tuner. I think I'm going to go with a Dynajet tuning so I can have on-the-fly adjustment up on the handlebars, and put several tunes into it to be able to adjust on the fly going down the road. And then take it to a guy locally here. Hopefully we can get some video footage of that, maybe of him dyno tuning it, and we'll get this thing just dialed and hopefully be making a lot more horsepower than she's making. It ain't no slouch now, but I think it can be improved upon tremendously by just getting it tuned and running properly. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. I hope this explains some of the last video. I know at the end of it I didn't say much about the problem not being fixed, but I noticed it. I had planned on continuing finding the problem and then doing a follow-up video, so this is it. Unfortunately, I got in a hurry and I didn't film what I found too much on my GoPro, taking it all apart. But there's lots of videos on how to get your rocker boxes apart. So there's other videos out there. It's just, you know, beating a dead horse at that point, you know, showing it again to everybody. So I figured those are already out there, but I did want to show a little bit what I found. So I do have a couple clips I took with my phone that I sent to Baisley's and some other people to show them what issue I believe the problem was, and what I was having, what I was looking at. So yeah, so hopefully this helps you guys out, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.